Evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
I assume these are in the vehicle replacement plan.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Vehicle replacement plan within budget, off the source well. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Got a second?
I'll second it. Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Who did that? Was that Mike?
That's Mike.
Okay. Any discussion?
I'll just acknowledge members of the fire department here and thank them for coming and for their service, and I think we're probably all supportive.
You're outstanding people. Thank you. Thank you for the whole thing. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? And that carries.
I cannot hear the first selectman on my computer. I don't know if it's me or.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have the microphone on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it's approved. That was easy. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, guys. As I said, thank the fire department, everybody.
Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you. No problem.
Take care.
Next up. Discussion possible vote on resolution in support of home rule and municipal zoning decision-making. Many other municipalities passed this resolution. I think Winchester, you have one? Similar, almost identical. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make that motion to approve this resolution as written.
Second.
Oh, and there's a second. Any discussion on the resolution?
Yes, sir.
I'm not hearing any.
Jeff, it's Mike.
Yes, Mike?
First, thanks for putting this together, George, and sharing it with us. I know you're chaired, you got it from elsewhere, and I've seen a few other places who have passed very similar resolutions. This is a debate that we're hearing all over the state, and generally, I think people are in two camps. One is, those who seek this comprehensive statewide approach to.
Hey, Mike? Mike?
Yeah.
Is your mic in the wind or something?
Maybe. Let me move to see. Hold on. Let me see if you can hear me better.
I think you're relaxing out in the wind outside or something.
I will acknowledge that I am trying to be out of my basement.
Okay, sorry.
Basement office. Can you hear me better now?
That's much better, and it's okay.
Yeah, no worries. So to me, the question that I really have is, what's the right solution rather than just saying no? I think ultimately what this requires to address the affordable housing issue in Southbury, and in our surrounding communities and across the state is collaboration with the state, and a willingness at both the state level and the local level to understand that we need each other here. And my concern with the resolution as stated is that it throws the baby out with the bathwater. CCM, Connecticut Conference on Municipalities, has supported some of the legislation, and they have come out against other parts of the legislation, because there are many bills that are under consideration related to affordable housing that many are viewing as a potential attack on home rule. Now, I would argue that, that the General Assembly has a right to limit home rules for state statute. That said, the proposals that have been put forth don't mandate a single town, including Southbury, adopt a single unit of housing. And to me, we should be complementing each other at the local and state level, trying to come up with solutions rather than competing or just being naysayers. So I am not comfortable with the resolution as posted. One, I think that it's a false dichotomy that we have to choose between state or local action. I just don't think that's the case. We should not, and our residents should not have to settle for one or the other. And Southbury can absolutely benefit in local land. So I just, the fact is that there's an affordable housing problem. It's affecting our citizens, and it's affecting the ability for Southbury to thrive and grow and welcome new residents. But I don't think issuing a blanket statement saying, as it does here, is based in fact. And that's really my biggest concern with the statement as listed. I don't agree with all the elements of all the pieces of legislation, just like CCM doesn't. But I think that this pretty much says no to all of it, and makes too broad a stroke for this very nuanced issue.
Okay, anybody else with comments?
Yeah, Jeff, I'll chime in here. It's Justin. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can,
Yes.
Justin.
We can.
Thank
Good.
you.
I'm not adverse to sending a statement. I am not in favor of sending this one. These copy and paste type communications that we're getting from other political town committees, I just don't see why Southbury can't write our own statement that's particular to our town. And in this statement, it references the fact that we have an affordable housing plan, which is not true. There is much objectionable in SB 1024 and in some of the other bills that are out there right now. I think what I'd love for us to do, I don't think we're going to do it, but I think what I'd love for us to do is write a letter to the state ourselves, our own letter, detailing our issues with the various points in the legislation that we find egregious. And again, I do see some, but I think we should also, as we're expressing that, remind the state that we have a near shovel-ready project at Pierce Hollow, and we don't need more mandates to get it done. We need funding. And having spoken with one of the trustees over there this week, I understand they've had 3 productive meetings with the state since you and I met with them, Jeff.
Yep.
And I really wonder if it's the right time to stick our finger in the state's eye with all that good stuff going on. So again, I'd like us to send a statement, just not this one.
Any other discussion on this? Emily?
Emily, you're muted.
You're still muted, Emily.
Hey guys, sorry, I was having some trouble getting it to unmute. Stuck. I don't have any problems with the resolutions. I understand what's going on at the state level. I think, the points made about not wanting to bend goodwill perhaps of what's already going on. I don't know that those necessarily resonate with me when we have stuff coming down, and I know that the focus of discussion tonight has really been on affordable housing, but this plan takes on so much more than that. And I think we have to stand up for something, and when we look at it, we love Southbury the way that it is. It's the reason why so many people move here, and we need to be able to keep the pride within our community to continue to allow us to plan and to build in the way that's best for Southbury, not the way that the state sees best for us. And so for those reasons, I'm in favor of this.
George?
I don't think this is a perfect resolution, but I think it sends a message that we really need to send at this time. HB 6611, they call it the Fair Share Bill, is particularly troubling to me as it gives state agencies the power to mandate a fair share of affordable housing in each town. Very punitive language. I think our community would be damaged by these laws irreparably. We cannot allow the state to control our zoning, planning, and development. I think that we need to draw a very deep line in the sand, or whatever you want to draw the line in, the dirt. But it needs to be done soon. One of the issues I have in modifying this particular resolution is that the provisions of the proposed laws are constantly changing. They go into committee, and then they get modified in the committee, and there's about a dozen different bills. So you're like being attacked by hornets on this thing, and they're constantly changing their angle of attack. And the other troubling aspect of it is the people sponsoring these bills have said that they won't necessarily stick to the decisions made by the committees. They will, any provisions that they like that are removed by committees could easily be put back in again, and they intend to do that as the law reaches the floor for debate. Another concern I have is if these bills pass, it'll give the state incentive to pass additional laws to further curtail our ability to control our town's destiny. It's a very slippery slope. As far as, balanced and bipartisanship, there's no bipartisanship in these laws. No Republicans in the House or the Senate support them, as far as I know. They're all Democratic. I know the Democrats control Hartford, so if they want to drive them through, they can. But if there was some bipartisanship here, if Republicans had some sort of say in what was going on, and there was a general bipartisanship, I would say, yeah, okay, let's consider it, but that's not happening here. So I support this resolution, and I hope it passes.
Okay. Jason, do you have anything? I mean, I understand that this resolution, it says we have an affordable housing plan, which we don't. Is that correct?
It does say that at the end there in the first resolve clause, which was one of my concerns. And I don't know if we should edit that because we don't have one. It says, we're against one-size-fits-all zoning and the ability of any outside housing authority to have jurisdiction over our town's affordable housing plan.
I think what I read that in just a different interpretation. I understand that it's saying our town's affordable housing plan. I just meant that more in the sense of that it's our plan to put together. I understand we don't have one, but just saying in the general sense that it's our plan. So just I interpreted that differently.
So,
Hey, Jeff?
anything else, Jason, on the?
Yeah, I'll state that. I mean, at the meeting on Thursday, I said that, my views on all of this legislation is I'm opposed to it. I don't think the state should be doing anything to mess with our zoning regulations and our ability to plan our town and, sorry, for those who aren't here, members of the Board of Finance are walking in, to plan and develop our town as we see fit. I will say that I think these types of cookie-cutter resolutions are of limited utility. If you really want to make an impact, I think it's got to be more personal, tell the state a story about your town. But that being said, I don't object to anything in here, so I'll vote for it because there's, I certainly support all the principles established. The only point I would consider revising is the point on the affordable housing plan because we don't have one. Also, I think we should make it clear for the portion of this resolution that says we're going to send it to all these people that we can do so electronically. I don't want an administrative burden on the first selectman's office. And it also is listing a bunch of people, it says all legislators sponsoring all bills about this topic. That's kind of, I have no problem sending it to all those people. But they're not identified, and I don't want the first selectman's office staff in a position where they have to figure out what bills we're referring to. So I think we should do something to lessen the burden on that front. Otherwise, I'll vote for the resolution.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
I know you actually haven't had a chance to comment, but if you know when you're, I have one other question and comment to add. So
Go ahead.
but I didn't want to start. Okay, thanks. So you know, I have one question. Is George referenced his concerns about I think it was 6166 and that it would be dangerous. I'd like a little more clarity as to what that danger is. In terms of the bipartisanship, I agree. And the unfortunate truth is in Hartford, there hasn't been bipartisanship on this. And that's, I don't think there's one side to blame. I think both sides are to blame for that. And I'm not a fan of how that happens and how Hartford has worked at times. That said, very similar slate of bills recently passed with overwhelming bipartisan support in two states with Republican governors, in Massachusetts and Vermont. So my question is, why not here? And I don't think a statement like this helps advance that opportunity. I just really feel that we should be actively participating in developing ideas to improve these proposed bills, develop ideas that are right for Southbury and all of its residents, and continue to support the smart but fact-based economic and social growth of our town. Like I said before, these land use reform bills, not a one of them, mandates that a single town, including Southbury, has to construct a single unit of housing. It's simply a myth. And I want to make sure our residents know that fact.
Okay, so what I am seeing here is the concern, the copy of this resolution shall be sent to, would it be Southbury state representatives and senators? I mean, to send them to all is a little bit,
It's limited.
Well, it says all state representatives and senators representing this town, so you'd have
Yeah.
Labriola, Cindy Harrison, and Eric Berthel is the way I read that.
My concern was on the last sentence where it's saying we're going to send it to all legislators sponsoring bills that remove local control of planning and zoning and affordable housing. Like, who's determining that? What's the list of bills? Like, are we saying the first selectman's office has to go research what's going on up there? So I think instead, like, people should, perhaps provide a list of folks that you want it sent to rather than putting the burden on the staff.
so.
I'd be willing to do that. I have a list available that I can access that maybe doesn't have every sponsor, but it probably has most of them.
I just don't want an issue to come up where someone, challenges that, oh, this wasn't sent to someone that sponsored some bill, when, how are we supposed to know about that? And I think we should make it clear it can be done electronically, so we're not spending tons of money to mail resolutions to the Capitol.
So I think we can get that done if it's understood that it would be done electronically, not through regular mail. Do we need a motion on that, or can we just, I think that's a line of communication that we can use. I don't think anything, we don't need certified mail, but it would be done electronically. Okay, I'll call the vote on this. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Hey,
Abstentions? And it carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn the special Board of Selectmen's meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Made and seconded.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. We're adjourned.
See you in
So-
10 minutes.
We will be back in at 7 o'clock with the Board of Finance.
Thanks all.